Welcome to the C-Suite podcast with me, Graham Barrett. I'm here at Pay360, a fantastic event that has brought the global payments conversation to London. We're producing the show in partnership with BPC, a payments processor that builds digital ecosystems that enable seamless payment experiences. I'm going to be interviewing a number of the speakers and attendees from the event, and I really hope you enjoy the show. Okay, I'm here with Peter Theunis, who is SVP of Sales at BPC. Peter, how are you?
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks so much. You are partnering with the podcast here at Pay360, so we look forward to all the different interviews we're going to be recording today. But let's just start off with an introduction to BPC, if you'd be so kind.
Okay. So BPC, we are a 25-plus-year-old fintech. We developed a software platform for payments, which is called Smart Vista. It's a white label platform that banks and fintechs can use to put their transactional banking on and their payments on. Over the years, this platform has, of course, evolved. And today, we're also offering this in a SaaS model to the market. We have about 500 customers in 150 countries, so we're truly global.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, what we're asking everyone here today, all of our guests, is we're looking at kind of technology and infrastructures. So it'll be good to get your take on this, because we're speaking to a lot of banks and building societies.
Yeah.
But how critical do you think it is for financial institutions to invest in these kind of modern technological infrastructures?
Now, first of all, I think availability and resilience is one of the key elements. I think in the UK, you had a couple of weeks ago quite some interesting examples when banks lose their availability. So it's key in this world that you are there 24/7 whenever people want to do something that it is available. Second of all, of course, regulatory compliance remains a burden at one end. But at the other hand, it needs to be done. So that is also one of these. Then if we go more to the competitiveness of applications, I think personalization of services. People want to be treated uniquely. Not one product fits all. The approach to approach your customers, and then you come quickly to analytics and AI-based operations. So this is one, and I think also for banks, it remains somewhere a battle against the fintechs. The innovative scope of a fintech versus the trust that the bank has. So that finding that balance remains key for everybody.
Okay, and if I had to press you maybe on the top 3 technology aspects that financial institutions should maybe prioritize, what would you say to that?
First of all, I think cloud and API-driven platforms, due to also the resilience, the easily scalability, a cloud platform will be much easier to cope with the current growth that we have. Secondly, real time. It needs to be available. It needs to be real-time available. I think UK faster payments we had, but now next generation comes up in Europe, instant payments and so on. I think that's the second. Fraud prevention. Because the fraudsters are there, are smart, often smarter than we are. So intelligent fraud-based solutions is for sure technology that. And then, like I said before, the personalization of services, giving the person, your customer, the feeling that he's unique and not one of many. That these areas, I think, is today quite important.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure fraud prevention is something we're going to pick up on a lot in our conversations today. Okay, well, let's just finish off the conversation with a bit of future gazing. What do you see as the next maybe big leap in digital and mobile banking?
Okay. You know, it's always a very interesting question. If I really know, I would probably already be somewhere else, established my own company and not talking to you in a podcast about what it is.
You'd be sitting in the Caribbean somewhere, yeah.
Hopefully. But I think conversational banking with AI is... I'm not a believer that AI will replace us all. I'm a believer that AI with a smart person can do much more. That's my belief. But there are tasks that AI can do, which are probably be boring tasks for a human being, and automate and facilitate. So to make it more personalized on that level, I think, based on data. Embedded finance, we talk already years about it, but the real embedded finance implementation still need to start. So you see more and more things coming up in different sectors, but I think corporates, brands will do more and more to embed financial services or payment services within their product suite. Then digital wallets. In Europe, the digital wallets today is mainly limited to the Apple Pays and Google Pays, but I see a lot of digital wallets linked to loyalty, to crypto, in a stable form of crypto or so, to open up new services again. And yeah, that's the main things that we see. Then you have stable coins, CBDCs. We will see what the Bank of England, for example, will do, if they will have the digital pound like the digital euro or not, which is also a move that we see in the coming months.
Yeah, I think we've all got our eye on that digital pound to see if that will actually come to fruition. So that's going to be really interesting. Well, listen, Peter Theunis, thank you so much for your insights here today, and thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Joining me now is Dan Wilson, who is Head of Payment Strategy, Industry and Roadmap at Nationwide. Dan, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, not at all. It's great to see you here at Pay360. Now, you're speaking on a session, aren't you, here later today about blockchain technology and payments.
Yep.
So what kind of potential use cases are we talking about here, and do you see that really taking off at scale?
So yeah, really excited to be on that session later on today. So we'll be covering different use cases from peer-to-peer to home buying, looking at where you can embed new digital assets in the existing payment journey. So really excited to have that debate and that discussion with some colleagues around the industry. Do I see it taking off at scale? I think there's a long way to go. I think there's multiple hurdles from a kind of regulatory point of view, technology point of view, and a user adoption point of view, and to be really clear on what problem it is you're trying to solve using it. So, but I do think it will, it does have value, and I look forward to seeing how that plays out over the coming years.
Absolutely, really interesting space. Well, let's keep on the technology front. I'd love to ask you what you maybe consider to be the top three, maybe, technology aspects or capabilities that banks and building society should be prioritising? Yeah,
so I think for me it's three things. So resiliency and core platform modernisation as one. So you have to have a resilient core. You have to, you have to be reliable. You have to be trusted. That's a non-negotiable. I think secondly, building user tools and features that are kind of built out of a genuine use case need rather than just innovating for the sake of innovating. And the final thing I'd probably point out is around fraud and prevention of fraud, so security in that payment journey. So APP fraud is still way too high. We have a huge problem in the UK. So I think embedding better proactive controls in that journey is a really important step to try and help protect people a bit better.
Sure. And what about, let's look into the future a little bit. We always love to do that on this podcast. What do you maybe see as the next big leap in digital and mobile banking, and how do you think that will kind of affect the whole ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think we've seen a huge emergence of digital wallets over the last couple of years. So, Apple Pay, Google Pay and others. I expect that to continue, and I think greater functionality within those. So, being able to add a card, maybe being able to add stable coins. We've got open banking that's really taking off. So things like Pay by Bank, just giving people more ways of paying in one place, I think is what we'll see more of. And then I think the enhanced security we talked about as well. So I know there's been a lot of good progress on things like biometrics. So how you're kind of protecting people when they're making their payments. So I think bringing all that together will be, what I'm excited to see.
And what about from your own customers? You've seen an appetite for those different payment methods?
Yeah, I think we're always looking to see how we can create new payment tools and features that our customers are wanting. Security is a huge thing, so it's trying to balance the two things: the kind of app-based security and protecting people with new tools and features, and giving people the option to make payments in the way they want to do.
Absolutely. Okay. And what about Nationwide then over the next 18 months or so, maybe 2 years? How do you see your strategy maybe evolving? What have you got in your in tray? What's up next?
Yeah, so I think, we're on a huge journey with our payment modernisation programme. So the continuation of that, talked about how important resiliency and security is. So progressing with that. but also, developing those new tools and payment features for our customers, integrating our digital services. And I think where we've got such a large branch presence as well, it's creating that kind of one overall user experience, whether you're in branch or digital or phone. So, bringing all that together. So that's certainly my focus from a strategy point of view.
Sounds good. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us here at Pay360. Good luck for your blockchain session this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Saira Khan, who's Head of Innovations and Partnerships at First Direct Bank. Saira, how are you?
I'm all right, not bad. I've just come off another panel, so I am perched, but I'm absolutely excited. It's been a great day so far.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. I just caught the end of your session, which was the golden opportunity in embedded finance, wasn't it? What were the key points you made during that session?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was such a rich discussion, and we had a great panel, actually. A couple of people from Runa, we had 11FS on there, and we had OpenPaid. So a real rich discussion across, how incumbents and partnerships are working together. And it was, we were talking about the value propositions of the future. How are they going to be looking like? And, part of that was how the future of, this experience on embedded finance is really going to be about invisible banking. But yeah, really, really fun. Actually, we were talking about value propositions, some of the points made about having strong value propositions in the future that really drive that stickiness of loyalty as well. So that's all the kind of stuff that we were talking about.
Yeah, so it's all the kind of magical stuff that happens behind the scenes, isn't it? So let's keep on that theme of kind of technology. What do you see as maybe the top 3 areas of technology that a bank like First Direct should prioritise nowadays?
Well, there's lots happening now in the marketplace, and I mean, I'll keep it quite broad, because one of the things that I just we were discussing and then we talked about afterwards was, look, your bank knows your last 5 moves. As we move forward, AI-empowered experiences with embedded finance, we're going to know your next 5 moves. So that's really it. So, AI-powered finance is going to be the future. I definitely think that's going to be something that will happen in time, even though we are starting to discuss it now. From our perspective, it's going to be, look, we're a bank that's been built on strong customer experience. That's within our DNA. And I think that the future of that is going to be loyalty and rewards, and really driving that out. I think that'll be a key theme for us, and staying on that strong customer experience level. But yeah, are you a customer?
Yeah, of course I'm a customer. Yeah, absolutely. What about, we like to do some future gazing on the podcast. What do you consider to be maybe the next big leap in mobile and digital banking? What are you keeping an eye on?
The invisible experience. I think that's going to be it, really. It really is about the invisible experience, us being there at the point of sale when the customer needs us, whether it's through whichever channel of choice that is, whether it's on mobile, whether it's a web experience. Actually, that might not even exist. As we look into the future, I think we are going to be looking at a very different experience, and how that's going to emerge. I think speed is something that we were talking about on the panel a lot. I think we don't have the real kind of experiences of, sitting on speed as we did previously. I think that speed is moving at a relatively faster pace than we thought it would. So I think regulation is going to be another key theme as well, making sure that regulators are keeping on top. Customers are safe as they make, their transactions through whichever channel of choice it is. Well, I think security and fraud will be another top theme, and will continue to be a theme, because safety is going to be is key. It's
going to be paramount, absolutely. So given all of that, so all of those things that you've got to juggle, how do you see the bank strategy evolving over the next, say, 18 months then? What are going to be your priorities?
Well, I'll talk. It's going to be safety is still key. Making sure that we're invested in those areas, which we are heavily. But really, it's customer experience. Like I talked about, I think having the strong value propositions. I mean, our customer, like we said, we are known for strong customer experiences, and making sure that we have that human-centric, approach and human-centric experience at the same time.
Excellent. All sounds great. Saira Khan, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm now here with Paul Horlock, who is the Chief Payments Officer at Santander. Paul, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Not at all. So let's speak about the panel you're speaking on to start with, which is around the regulation roadmap, isn't it? What are some of the key points you're going to make in that session?
Well, we need a roadmap. I think that's the key. That's the
number
key
one.
point.
There we go.
We have a vision. We have a national payments vision, which we're all really welcoming of. I think it's a great step forward for us to get some clarity on where we want to go, but we now need a strategy to get us to that vision. And there's a lot of talking going on. I'm part of the vision engagement group that meets with Treasury and lots of other industry stakeholders, and we're feeding into the Payments Vision Delivery Committee, but we don't yet have a roadmap, and we really need to be clear on what are the priorities, what's the clarity we need to be able to get to that vision that customers so badly need.
So what kind of timescale are we looking at for that roadmap, do you think?
Well, we better be moving this year in terms of some clarity. I think the hope is that the delivery committee gets a view by mid-year of what the strategy starts to look like. We can flesh that out through the rest of the year. But let's be frank, some of the big technology changes we need are not things you can do overnight. You know, these things to deliver new payment rails, to deliver account to account, to deliver tokenization take 2 or 3 years in their design, gestation, and delivery period. So this will be a proper roadmap. I think it has to be a roadmap for that period. But what we can't do is rely on big monolithic deliveries. It's got to be iterative. It's got to be modular. It's got to be growing as we go through that process.
Well, let's hope your session here gives a bit of a turbo boost to that process. You never know.
We can hope. We can live in hope.
Exactly. Let's move on and talk a little bit about technology. Why is it so critical for organisations like Santander to invest in technology infrastructures?
Well, payments. Well, banking is technology. Let's be frank. It's bits and bytes. You know, it's the money you hold is digitally held in your account. We hold it at the Bank of England, but it's the numbers in the systems. You know, lack of there's a move away from physicality. That move to digitization is crucial. And to give you the services you need, we need to invest in technology. We need to give you real valuable choices to make the best use of your money every day, and payments are things that touch customers. You deal with them every day. You can't get a coffee without me giving you a service. You can't pay for your heat and light at home. It's crucial that we invest in a way that gives you better choices, better value opportunities for the future.
And if I had to press you on the top 3 or even the top 1 or 2 kind of aspects or capabilities that you think banks should invest in, what would you say to that?
Well, if you listen to any of the conversations today, it's AI. Everybody's obsessed with AI, and I can see that. You know, the fight against fraud, we can win with more use of data and using that data to develop those pattern matching capabilities, that mining of data to get clear on where nefarious characters are entering the system will give us a lot more ability to provide security to customers. I mean, that's quite an obvious one. The one that's maybe hidden a bit more are where we're trying to bring different types of money to market. And I say it to people, they think, what the hell are you talking about? But this is really actually going back to the future a bit. If you think about the days of bartering, when you bought something, you actually exchanged those value points at the point of transaction. We've moved away from that in the way that when we make payments today for buying things at marketplaces, the money goes one way and the transaction happens somewhere else. And that's led to some of the issues and things that we see around things like APP fraud, for example, where actually you've sent the money and then suddenly realise the thing you're buying didn't even exist in the first place. So one of the things we're looking at is around tokenization, around smart contracts or programmable money that allows us to bring money to the point of the transaction, so that when you do exchange for that car that you're buying on Facebook Marketplace, and please don't, I can't believe that people do that, but some people do, when you go for that exchange, that the money doesn't actually become valuable to the seller until you've got the goods in your hands, until you're happy with that trade. And if we can create smart contracts or program the money that allows you to exchange it in that secure way rather than the way we do today, actually we think that can make a huge difference to customers. So that's one of the, to me particularly, one of the big technologies we're pushing it.
Brilliant. Okay, and let's look forward a little bit. What do you see as maybe the next big leap in digital and mobile banking? Where is this space going next?
Well, it's interesting. I've probably said before, I'm probably trying to shy away from big leaps, because big leaps you never get there.
Okay.
To be frank, if you listen,
incremental ones.
If you listen to Brian McBride this morning, the whole Moore's law thing, how things continually develop. And I think one thing we've done in the UK very well is open banking. What we've not done well is leveraged it. And I think the step for customers now, and the step-by-step process for customers, to start to leverage open banking. So things where you can jump app to app seamlessly, where you can move money without friction in a way that's safe and secure inside that real estate of your banking app environment, I think is something that really makes a big difference for customers. Because today, the biggest, we did a customer survey the last couple of weeks, one of the biggest frictions is lost time, lost effort to customers. Whereas if you can go into your banking app and actually invisibly move to the places you need to and make it easier for you. And that's what open banking can allow you to do. Actually, that takes a big step forward for customers. And we've actually set ourselves a challenge that one of the biggest targets for us this year is saving customer time. We're going to try and measure the time that we're saving for customers over that year, because that's where customers really get benefit from the conversation they have with their bank. If they can do it efficiently and effectively and get on with more valuable things, that's far better for customers.
Yeah, and let's face it, that's probably where some of their frustrations are as well, when things are taking too long. So if you can solve that, you're really going far.
Yeah, and I think the survey we've got says there's only 1 in 5 people actually have any issue with payments. 4 out of 5 think it's great, don't really want any changes. But the 1 in 5, it's either fraud or it's loss of time. And that's the two we're dealing with, particularly fraud we're going after as an industry. You'll hear lots about that today. And time, really about making things smarter for customers at the point of transaction, at the point of contact, so that you can make better use of those digital services.
Okay, so how do all of these things play into the bank strategy moving forwards then? How is that going to evolve over the next 18 months, say?
Well, for the bank, for Santander in particular, it's about finding better ways to service those customers. We want to be the easiest bank for customers to deal with, to get the things that they need to happen for them. And that means investing in our banking app. We've just done that. Actually, globally, we've built a new banking app that we are providing across all of our continental services. I mean, we're very big in LATAM, we're now growing in North America, very big in Europe. And to be able to leverage the scale of the group to bring those services to customers is really part of our strategy. And behind that, we're developing global payment services that give us a better unit cost for the back end, which means I can focus more on the front end channel delivery to customers. And also from a card perspective, we're building a new global card platform, which means we can bring new product to bear in the UK. So strategically, it's leveraging the size of the group, but getting better delivery locally to those customers to get the benefit from that group capability.
Sounds like you've got a lot on your plate, but...
There's a lot to do, yeah.
But exciting times. Paul Horlock, thank you very much for those insights and for joining me here on the podcast.
Thanks very much.
Joining me now is Sulabh Agarwal, who's the Global Payments Lead at Accenture. Good to see you here today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much for having me here.
No, not at all. Great to see you here at Pay360. Now, what I thought we could kick off with would be Gen AI in payments. What's your take on that at the moment?
I think Gen AI is here to stay. It is not a fad. Unlike some of the previous incarnations, I genuinely feel it is taking traction in all aspects of the work we do. So whether it is sales and marketing, whether it is actual product, core technology, delivery life cycle, operations, you look at any area and there's just so much happening with Gen AI. Now, Gen AI in payments is quite interesting. I mean, all these areas are very relevant, right? I mean, we talk about personalization, we talk about digital wallets today and how things are personalized. Again, Gen AI is full on. So what used to take about 3 months to create one creative, through the marketing agency can be done in like seconds.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? And it's really seeped into all our lives, hasn't it? The last couple of years, really. Yeah.
Absolutely. Whether it's booking or planning your holiday or writing a poem for someone's birthday. But like coming into payments again, how you route a transaction and how you figure out the best way to, price it. And then going to the core, technology. This whole space of, legacy technology is a problem area, to be honest, for a number of clients for such a long time. But the biggest issue is there's only 1 or 2 people in the organization who are close to retirement or have been brought back from retirement who understand the technology. And Gen AI being able to understand the rules, the various hard coding which is built within the application, and then obviously also convert that into requirements and then do forward engineering, which I feel is kind of the most disruptive part of the technology. And then operations, we've already seen agents and others talking to us. And I genuinely feel like agentic is going to change the world. We look at, say, even let's say IT servicing, right? There's level 1, level 2 support without needing the depth of understanding of the platform. And level 1, level 2 support, you can actually have agent take kind of automate quite a lot of it. But it's not just that. Like you look at conversations in customer service, you look at investigations, payments investigations, like the orchestrator agent, data collector agent, and all these different agents trying to solve for various aspects of processing is quite exciting, and it is coming.
Okay, so from one hot topic to another, we started with Gen AI. Let's move on to cross-border payments. What kind of challenges do you think still exist there, and I guess how can they be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, cross-border payments, the core challenges of multiple hops to reach the destination, not knowing what is the final pricing going to be, or the cost of making the transaction, the timing of the transaction. I mean, to a certain extent, they are being solved, but there is just so much more to do. Like you look at what's happening by interconnecting the various real-time payment systems like Project Nexus, which is quite active in Asia, connecting various RTP systems, or there are various fintechs, I mean, Wise or even Visa Direct, Earthport, and various others who are actually, and the large banks, right? A Citibank or HSBC with global connectivity into various geographies. They are connecting into the local systems and solving for the cross-border side of the payments interaction. So I feel that being a core part of the solution, and then you cannot move away from this conversation without looking at the digital asset solutions, which are also popping up, and there's so many different examples of pilots and proof of concepts going on around the world to solve the same. So like this, I feel we are spoiled for choice in terms of the possible solutions. And so, I mean, some of the delays and the uncertainty in the payment because of financial crime prevention regimes and others, I think they will sustain. But some of the others, I mean, SWIFT is on a journey to solve, but there's so many other also solutions coming up.
Now, of course, technology and innovation underpins all of this, doesn't it? So if I could press you on maybe what you think are the top 3 kind of areas that banks, financial institutions should be looking at the moment?
Top 3 is difficult, but I would say, I mean, you have to only look at where is it that payments are being really successful, right? So I would look at those geographies like, say, India, Brazil, and others, where the payments has really taken off, and this whole digital wallet space. Super app space is quite hot, and banks definitely cannot ignore. So I would suggest having your own strategy, especially in a world where the phones are opening up, or either through the European legislations or the commercial opening up of, say, even the Apple NFC and various others, is giving opportunities to think about what is going to be your wallet strategy. It could be still partnering with the big techs, but it could be having your own. So that's definitely a big area. I mean, the core technology itself is a big challenge, right? And we were talking about it when we were talking about Gen AI. You've got legacy technology on one hand, and you only have to look at, say, the acquiring landscape, right? All the big new scale-ups like Stripe, Adyen, and various others, or even the Vises of the world in cross-border and others, they're all new tech, right? Like the core technology is cloud-native tech, some on public cloud, some on private cloud, but whatever it is, a cloud-native tech with API-first approach, I think that you cannot go wrong with that. I think that's the direction of travel in terms of where the market is going. And then finally, if I were to add a third one, I would say it's being aware of how the core technology itself is changing as the money is changing itself. with the coming of stable coins and others. So I think it's being open to blockchain and the various other technology options around that.
Yeah, well, let's finish up with that then. Maybe what you think could be the next big leap in digital and mobile banking. Is it going to be stable coins? Is it going to be Bitcoin? I mean, what do you think?
I do believe that digital assets are having a pivoting moment at the moment.
Okay.
So you look at, like what's happening in Europe with the whole digital euro, both for retail and wholesale side of things. You look at what's happening in the UK with RLN, experimentation, CBDCs that the Bank of England is trying. You look at US where the new regime is really backing stable coins in a huge way, including, changes in how the Fed reserves are kept, which means like this is not something which is going to go. It's like full on, and we are going to see a huge pivot to that. And what is the whole concept of tokenization is very, very fascinating, right? Because it goes beyond money. You're not just tokenizing your money, you're tokenizing your home, registration, you're tokenizing your car registration, you're tokenizing your documentation, your ID, and various transactions. I mean, there was a point in time when NFTs were talked about quite a bit, the artwork being tokenized. But I do believe time has come now where more and more things will be tokenized so that they can be exchanged in more or less, real time with very little friction. And we will see a more seamless, friction-free interaction and commerce in times to come.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. There we go.
Thank you.
Sulabh Agarwal, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Okay, I'm now joined by Carl Raven, who's the head of issuer enablers at Visa. Carl, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on.
No, not at all. Now, let's talk a little bit about your role specifically. What does that actually entail, head of issuer enablers?
So I manage the relationships across Europe with all of our issuer processors, program managers, and tech platforms. So essentially, any company that a bank or a fintech can outsource their processing to are the companies that I manage.
And is that a challenging role for you?
It's I have over 65 partners, so it's a busy role. Sometimes challenging, sometimes rewarding.
Okay, well, you're in a good place to answer this next question then about how you see the market evolving in terms of payments. And I'm thinking when it comes to building in-house resource rather than outsourcing, what trends are you seeing?
Yeah, so what we see in my team is we see a trend of people moving to outsourced from in-house solutions. So 52% of Visa's issuers in Europe outsource today. So it's a high percentage. We see a 1% increase year on year to people switching from in-house to outsourced.
And what do you see as the next big leap in digital payments, and how do you think they will affect the UK financial ecosystem?
So we've seen a lot of consolidation in the UK, a lot of acquisitions and mergers. We at Visa, we've mandated click to pay on the digital side, so we see a strong emphasis on click to pay and the rollout of that across the UK market and across Europe as well. We also see a big trend in kind of AI and incorporating AI into products. And we at Visa, we look at how to incorporate that into all of our new products that we roll out as well.
Yeah, I mean, how do you envisage that AI is going to transform the landscape? I mean, it seems to be becoming more and more embedded in our lives.
I think people are still learning how it's going to be incorporated and how it will be used. We definitely see a lot more uptake on AI and how to incorporate it. And I think it's at the start of the journey, but I do think it will be a big thing that will come up in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, maybe you could gaze into your crystal ball for me a little bit as well. Maybe talk about the top 3 tech areas that enablers should prioritize to deliver reliable, uninterrupted, payments experiences.
Yep. So we see a big shift into cloud architecture. That definitely helps with the reliability and the uptime of platforms, having that kind of active-to-active connection on the cloud to ensure no downtime or very, very limited downtime. We see a lot of emphasis on fraud and risk products. As kind of the ecosystem and things are evolving, there's definitely scammers will keep trying their luck as things are evolving. So we definitely see a strong emphasis on fraud and risk, and also see a big shift in kind of enhanced data and how that's made available, and then how is that used? Because data is king, effectively, and then how can you leverage that data into your products and your offering to your end card holders?
Just one further question on the fraud side of things. I mean, how is it possible to stay ahead of these ever sophisticated fraudsters? What is the key to that?
I think it's just staying one step ahead with your products that we're able to offer. So at Visa, we spend a substantial amount of money on our analysis of fraud and our uptake of products. We've recently just acquired Feature Space that was announced at the end of last year to add that into our service offering that we can give to our issuers and to our enablers. And I think it's just trying to stay one step ahead in terms of seeing what's happening and how can we kind of